Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about how to begin your tile project in clay. So you guys have already done a name plaque project, so you're familiar with how to roll out a slab with using the slab roller, starting with a rolling pin and then flattening that out. And so I'm not going to demonstrate how to roll out a slab today. You guys already know how to do this. The tile project is similar to the name plaque project in the fact that it starts with a pattern. So when you guys are thinking about your visual research for this project, I would suggest looking in magazines is a great place to start, or old calendars looking for pictures, and thinking about what kind of tile you might want to make. Some things that work well for this are, say, like a commemorative tile. So for instance, I wanted to, a few years back, I got married, and so I wanted to feature something with a wedding cake. So I found a picture out of a wedding magazine of some tiered cakes. And then I decided to go ahead and do just a quick sketch of a tiered cake. And I wanted to include the initials of my husband and I and the date that we got married. Notice I also included a border in my sketch. And so this was the tile that came out of that sketch and that idea. So you can see it has the tiered cake here, our initials, and then kind of a fun border. The pink and green were the colors of our wedding. So that's one example of a commemorative tile. You could think about other things. Maybe recycling is something that you're into. We did a few years back kind of a Go Green theme, and these are some of the tiles that came out of that project. Notice that all the tiles have both areas that are carved, such as the blue area here of the background, and then things that are popping up. So this heart here is sitting up from the tile. It's popping up. So it has 3 levels of relief. So when we're thinking about relief in ceramics and sculpture, we think about different areas where things are popping up, carved away, and it creates different levels and depths. Here's a student example. Flowers work really well for this project, or anything that's sort of organic pictures. Animals also work really well. So this one has some carved areas here in the background, and then the center of the flower is popping up to give us that sense of depth. Here's another, just again for a process idea. So I wanted to do a dolphin, and heaven knows I can't really draw a dolphin, so I'm going to trace something. So what I've done here is I've taken my tile template to the light table in the drawing room, and I've traced these 2 dolphins, again including a border, and then here's the tile that came out of that idea. Again, one of the whole dolphin shapes is popping up. There's areas in the background that are carved away to create texture. So that's that example of animals. So all of you guys will be getting a piece of paper, and this is a 6 by 6 inch square. So your job is to fill this square with something interesting, either a commemorative tile, an animal. It really needs to be a drawing, so not much lettering here. We've already done a lettering project with the name plaques. I want you guys to be thinking of an image that's more of a drawing. This is sort of a drawing project. Our tiles are not going to be really functional, they're more decorative. So here I've taken, again, the light table in the drawing room, and I've simply traced my version of this little songbird, and I've included a border, which I used a ruler to do. For your tiles, I would like you to include a border of some kind. And now I'm ready to begin. Notice I've cut out the square here, and I've flattened out my clay. I've also used a rib tool to comb this and smooth it very nicely, so I'm ready to begin. And to make your life a little easier, I do have 2 of these templates that, again, are marked by a 6 by 6 inch square. So I can very easily either set my drawing on here, or I can just use the template to cut out the square. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mark this and cut out the square. Now, I would suggest using a ruler for this part, so that make sure that your lines are pretty straight, and using a ruler or a straight edge. I can cut with my needle tool, or I could also use a fettling knife. And again, if your hand is kind of wobbly, you might just go ahead and grab a ruler for this part. Now, notice my slab is a little bit bigger than the square. Please don't get rid of this. This extra piece is going to become important because I have to pop something up. So I'm going to keep the integrity of that slab and just set it aside for now. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my project onto a board, and I can begin transferring the design. Now you guys know that when you work with slabs, you want to keep them as flat as possible, and you also know about transferring your design at this point. So I'm going to stop the video here for a moment and poke through the paper to transfer my little songbird on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a nice sharp number 2 pencil and connect all the dots so that I have my image on the clay. Once I get to that point, I'll talk a little bit more about carving and adding the different dimensions to your type.